Sir, Mr. Murtaza on the stage. Our today's faculty, CA Ashwin Shah, and our coordinator, Ms. Anju Jhawar. Let us first play our institute motto, and please rise for the same.
यशस्तुप्तेषु जागृति यशस्तुप्तेषु जागृति कामं कामं कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमानः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः
Thank you. I would request my friends from the back seats to please come forward, because currently it is looking like the airport where the aisle seat is full and the window seat is empty. So I'll request my friends to come forward, so we have the equal distribution of the members. Now I would like to request our chairman, sir, Shri Murtaza Kachwala, to please give the chairman's remarks and the opening for the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Good morning to everyone. Thank you. एकदा परत बघा बाहेर बोलवा. I think the most important thing once again, I'm repeating, and I've been repeating for the last few days now. We are struggling to keep or start on time and keep discipline in terms of timing. When we say 10:30, our endeavor is to start sharp at 10:30, and which means if members can come in a little early, complete their breakfast and be inside, I think that helps. We still, we have today 200 registrations, and we can all see how many are there in the room right now, although we have started 10 minutes delayed. So let me first thank Ashwin Bhai. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and joining us here today to share your valuable knowledge with all the participants. And thank you for all the good work that you do and all your support to WRC always, Ashwin Bhai. Thank you. A round of applause for him. Let us welcome him with a huge round of applause. And I'm sure your 2 hours are going to be interesting, a lot of value adding. Let me also thank Karthik and Anju Madam for joining us as coordinator today. Thank you for sparing your time and supporting WIRC. I again welcome all the participants to this program. According to me, RERA again is an interesting subject, and a lot of opportunities are coming in. And today, Ashwin Bhai will cover on registration, upload of documents to the RERA, again, latest changes in RERA, whatever I'm sure most of us have also read the news on about 40, 45 developers in Kalyan Dombili, KDMC, getting banned, their projects getting stopped and RERA taking action on them for certain forgery which they did. So I think RERA is, according to me, a good regulation. It is also getting implemented well. And for us, when we have a real estate construction infrastructure developer client, I think it is a wholesome type of a thing. Of course, whenever there is a small or a large building or a project, tax audit definitely becomes applicable. Most of the time, many of us even look at the account, scrutinize, handle, whatever. So from doing the tax audit to collection and payment of GST and filing our returns, to taking the RERA registration, RERA account, transfer from escrow to outside certifications on a regular basis, all of it, it becomes good, this thing. And again, like how to do the accounting and filing our returns, etc. Some chartered accountant firms have started charging the clients a good professional fees. And I've seen like they look at it in terms of how much the project is going to be, 3 years, 4 years, and then they arrive at a package that for 4 years, possibly will be charging you a 20 lakhs, 24 lakh rupees and a yearly 5 lakh rupees for providing all the services together. And I think we should, because whatever said and done, whatever type of builder, they make enough money. And in any project, if they invest 2-3 crores, they make 4-5 crores. Okay. So why we should not make our share of profit or fees from them? So I think we should stop charging less. We should all together ensure that we charge them well. We recover good for the services that we provide, because we apply a lot of our brains, we help them, we support them. So, and in making profit. So I think that is where it is. Our endeavor is to ensure that we keep on doing on multiple various subjects, and people who are interested keep coming. So with that, again, I welcome all of you and thank you and happy learning to all of you. Thank you. And over to you, Karthik. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to congratulate the institute and the whole WIRC team for the successful year, because today we are on the last day of the 2022. I would like to thank our chairman, sir, for the under whose able leadership we had the successful WCO event, which was a lifetime event for our India to host this kind of event. So a great round of applause from all of you. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to introduce our today's faculty, CA Ashwin Shah. He graduated from Mumbai University in 1986 and became chartered accountant in 1987. He has 3.5 decades of experience, and he is expert in the real estate industry. He is also known as a Sachin Tendulkar of the real estate industry, because Sachin Tendulkar is a master blaster known for the centuries, and he has done the century of the seminars, webinars for the various branches of the institute, various associations across the India. His various seminars include the seminars for WIRC, SIRC, CIRC at the Varanasi branch, MCHI Credai, Raigad Thane Kalyan Unit, Chamber of Tax Consultant, Bar Association of MAHA RERA, All India Federation of Tax Practitioners, and various more. He has written various publications for the various institutes. He is the founder and the past president of the RERA Practitioners Welfare Association. He is also a registered insolvency professional with the IBBI. With this, now I would like to request our president, sir, for the memento to Shri Ashwinji. Now I would like to request CA Ashwin Shah to take the floor, and now the whole stage is yours. And uh, I request members to please keep the session as interactive as possible, and happy learning for all of us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The chairman of the WRC of ICI, Murtuja ji, Kartike, Anju, and my dear friends. It's really a good pleasure to meet all of you at the fag end of the year 2022. I think after COVID, we have started now moving to physical mode, and one can understand the speaker's concern in online virtual mode, where the speaker feels that he just goes on talking. I don't know what are the reaction, but the physical mode is always better because it's a learning process. From participant also, we get many feedback, and we goes on having our own upgradation on the subject. So friends, today, as the chairman has briefly given some remark on the opportunities, I'll just touch upon some of the opportunities. So as a chartered accountant, we cannot just remain isolated from any other law, which are affecting our practice or even in industry also. Because we may be doing purely income tax work or purely audit work or purely GST work. But again, knowledge of this allied law, say for example, RERA or IBC or any other law is a must for any chartered accountant, because the clients are now so smart. They will judge our performance in just 5 to 10 minutes. If they talk to us, they will come to understanding that, yeah, this fellow is appropriate for this job or not. So we need to have a all-round knowledge of various allied laws, and that's why WRC is keeping every now and then the subjects on the allied law. So today we are going to cover the registration aspect under MAHA RERA. I will not go into the details of exact registration process because that has already been taken in many earlier lectures. See, recently there are so many updates, as mentioned by chairman, the KDMC issue. Because of that KDMC issue, now MAHA RERA has become very alert. Previously, we used to get registration in 1 or 2 days. Just we upload the file and we get the registration in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. But now, I think many of you might have experienced the registration comes only after 20, 25 days. There are so many queries raised. We have to respond to that queries. Sometimes there are some open house also. We have to go into that open house and get the thing resolved. Because now because this MAHA RERA registration is a license granted by MAHA RERA to the promoter to market its product, to mobilize the money. So it would be taken very seriously if the registration is granted very casually. What has happened in the past will come on that aspect. Yeah. So first I will cover the very crucial part, that is agreement for sale, model agreement for sale and model allotment letter. So in 2017, now just taking a brief overview of the act composition, there is a central legislation, that is Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016. It was effective from 1st May 2016, but practically many sections were operative from 1st May 2017. So we can say for the practitioners, it was effective from 1st May 2017. And then since the real estate comes under a concurrent list, The central government cannot alone decide on the real estate. So state also has the power to decide. So it comes under a concurrent list. Hence, all the states and union territories, they were given powers to frame the rules, to appoint the authority, and to appoint the tribunal, to establish the tribunal. See, prior to RERA, the legislative hierarchy was like this. If anybody is aggrieved under MOFA, because Maharashtra we had MOFA, in Gujarat we have GOFA. So one has to approach the city civil court, then high court, and like that. So now the total hierarchy is changed. Now it is, there is a MAHA RERA authority. If somebody is aggrieved, one can approach the MAHA RERA authority. They will hear the aggrievedness. They will pass the appropriate order. Still, if somebody is aggrieved, they can go to the appellate tribunal MAHA RERA, and then high court and Supreme Court. So this is the hierarchy. So MAHA RERA authority and tribunal has to be established by the state government, and authority is also established by state government. Then authority has its own regulation for working, for deciding how they will go about the project registration, various. There are so many phases under MAHA RERA, or for any project to be registered, there are so many applications are to be made. So how that will function, that all will be decided by the regulatory authority by way of a regulation, circular, order, and the state government issues notification from time to time. So what has happened in city like Mumbai, we have vertical development. We have very less plotting development in city like Mumbai. But when we go beyond a certain level, then there are plotting scheme also. So MAHA RERA, means RERA applies to both plotting of land as well as vertical development, right? So under vertical development, now the condition is like this. Okay, if your plot area is more than 500 square meter, or your apartment to be developed is more than 8. Apartment to be developed, not to be sold. It may happen that your apartment to be developed may be higher, but your apartment to be sold is lesser, particularly in case of redevelopment of a small society. So here, 500 square meter or 8 apartment. If this things triggers, then you are required to register before MAHA RERA. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do any sort of marketing without first obtaining the registration certificate. So it is not only necessary that you just apply for a registration. You must have the registration certificate in hand to start the marketing. One can certainly start the construction without marketing on its own fund, but cannot do any sort of marketing even by way of an email or whatever, social media, nothing can happen. So here the main question is whether this 500 square, suppose for example, the plot area is say 400 square meter, and the apartment to be developed is 15. Now whether RERA applies or not, this was the question. So then if we look at section 3, there we get the exemption from project registration. So it comes in a negative way. If we satisfy any of the condition, that is either 500 square meter or number of apartment, then we are out of the project registration. So there was a confusion. Okay, if my plot area is less than 500 square meter, say 400 square meter, but my apartment is 15, whether I should go for registration or not. So this matter went up to the appellate tribunal MAHA RERA. So there the full bench was established. They have the 3 member. So out of that 3 member, 2 member opined that registration is not required because of the word or. It is not and. So if I satisfy any of the condition, then I am out of the. But 1 member was against this. He said no, registration is required. But by majority, then tribunal order is now valid, that project registration is not required in such a case. However, this matter is still pending before Mumbai High Court. So we'll have to see what happens. But practically, when such kind of scenario comes, the promoter comes to us, chartered accountant. Now, what we should advise? Because legally, they are not required to obtain the RERA registration, but practically there are many difficulties. The customer confidence, first of all. Then the financial institution giving the home loan finance, they will not be comfortable. So our advice would be practically you better go for MAHA RERA registration. You complete your project. So that will be one of the achievement you can mention in your next registration, because we have to mention the number of how many projects you have completed in the past. So this is the practical scenario. Now the agreement for sale. There is one model agreement for sale as per section 13 and rule 10 of the MAHA RERA. They have prescribed this model agreement for sale, but the opening line of the model agreement, it is by way of annexure A to the rules. Now there is one explanatory note. I'll show you the model agreement also. Now this explanatory note, what it says, okay, this model agreement is a recommendatory. You can certainly modify the writings of this agreement, provided it is within the four corner of law. Means you cannot go beyond the law. Say for example, now under RERA, a promoter cannot mobilize more than 10% without first getting the agreement executed and registered. This is the condition as per law. You cannot mention in your agreement, I will collect 50% and then I will register the agreement. That would be illegal and void ab initio. So the modification is allowed subject to consent of both the party. But what happened after this KDMC and after many issues or many litigation, because MAHA RERA has handled nearly 20,000 litigation, out of which they have disposed of 12,000. Again, some matters are pending before tribunal. So during the course of this litigation, they came to know that promoters are using agreement for sale as a monopoly item, as a unilateral writing, because it is an experience that when somebody books the apartment, he is not shown the agreement, or he is shown the agreement at a very later stage. You have to just provide your KYC detail to the developer, and then you go for registration. And this has happened not only with a non-professional, I would say this has happened with the professional people also. We just go on the very last day, wherever their agent says, we sign the agreement and then come back. So this drafting of agreement was never shared with the allottee. So now what MAHA RERA has done is, they have brought this model agreement, and this model agreement has to be uploaded on the promoter's web portal in MAHA RERA. So under public login, one can certainly go, even if promoter is not giving you agreement, you can go and download that agreement and check the agreement. Correct? Now to add to that, now they say that not only model agreement, but you have to give one deviation agreement also. Now what is this deviation? So from model agreement, what is the version of the promoter agreement? If there are some deviation, you have to color mark it. You have to color mark it and upload under a deviation tab. Not only that, again you have to put the paras on the promoter letterhead, highlighting the key features of that para. What are the changes? Say for example, the payment schedule is there as per model agreement, wherein at the last some percentage are given on the possession, this much percentage has to be kept. But if promoter wants to change this, he can certainly do that. But then he has to mention in his deviation report on a letterhead, okay, these are my changes, and color mark this agreement, his own agreement, and upload it. So that allottee will come to know what are the deviation, and then he can take his own decision. Whether he want to go for it, he want to modify it, get it done. So the main purpose of this deviation is to make the allottee understand what promoter is making change, why is deviating from the model agreement. Correct? So there was one order 30. Now this order 30 was issued on 3rd June. We will go to that order 30. Now this relates to model allotment letter. In 2017, by way of a rule, there is a model agreement, but there was no model allotment letter. And in many litigation, because of COVID, many home buyers, their job were lost. So they had no option but to cancel the booking after COVID in 2020-21. There are so many cancellation, and then promoter used to forfeit entire amount, or they used to say, we will charge you 5% of the consideration. Say, for example, the flat is of 2 crore rupees. Then they will say, ke, we will 2% of that flat consideration, 4 lakh rupees, we will forfeit. You have paid 5 lakh rupees, so we will refund you only 1 lakh rupees. So a lot of litigations were there because of Corona and voluntary cancellation, or sometime for other reason also. So now there was no model allotment letter. So now they have prescribed model allotment letter, and they have prescribed certain percentage also of the forfeiture. Say, for example, if the allotment is cancelled within 15 days of booking, then no deduction should be done. See, we have to understand that there is some cost to the promoter also whenever he takes some booking, because he has to give some money to the broker also, or either to the sales team. There is a cost of the sales team. If he himself is doing a marketing, there are some administrative costs. So it is not that promoter has not to bear any expenditure. There are some expenditure, but now they have prescribed up to 15 days, then 15 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, and beyond 60 days, it is 2%. So they have prescribed various slab, 1%, 1.5%, 2%. So this is the model allotment letter. Again, the promoter has to give his own allotment letter with a deviation color mark. And on letterhead, he has to give point where he is deviating. So this is for the information of the allottee to take the proper decision. Once the allottee takes the decision, then it is his choice. Correct? Order 30. Then what happened? There were some changes in the same allotment letter circular order. So order 30 was removed and order 31 came. We will go through that. And finally, in order 35, see, there was this, there were two conditions. One is number of days. Less than 15 days, no deduction. 15 to 30, 1%. 30 to 60, 1.5%. And beyond that, 2%. So order 31, what says, कि promoter can increase these days and reduce the percentage, which is beneficial to the allottee. So this was the direction given in order 31. But then there were a lot of representation from the promoter community. Okay, this is a commercial contract. Why you want to put all these things? Let buyer and promoter decide what should be the days and like this. It can be reduced, it can be. So they removed this condition of increase, promoter choice of increasing days and reducing the percentage. So now promoter is free to charge even more than 2%. This implies the promoter is now free to charge more, because under order 31, he has been given a choice to reduce the percentage. But now with the removal of this, now the percentage can be 4%, 5%, right? Now under Indian Contract Act, now again I said we need to know the other law also. Now this forfeiture amount, again we have to go to the Indian Contract Act. There we have to see the provision. Okay, if any, because of the act of somebody else, if some loss is caused to the other person, then he has right to recover those loss and he is obliged to indemnify the loss. This is the provision of Indian Contract Act. But again, that loss has to be proved. It cannot be ad hoc. One cannot say like, but it has to be reasonable and it should be proved. Okay, this is my cost. Cost of some administrative expenses, marketing expenses, advertisement expenses, whatever. So that has to be this. Now then they brought one order 38, that is non-negotiable clauses. We'll go in detail. Now here in Annexure A, model agreement with explanatory note, they say you can change the agreement within the four corner of law. But now with this order 38, they say that there are, it is noticed that promoter are changing so-and-so clauses. So even if they change these clauses, that would be void ab initio illegal. That will not be binding. So again, this is a contradictory statement from what rule is saying, because regulation cannot go beyond the rule and rule cannot go beyond the act. Correct? So this is by way of a regulation. Now MAHA RERA is saying that you cannot change certain clause. If you change it, then it would be void, it would be illegal. But if you look at the agreement for sale explanatory note, it says you can change the draft of the agreement within the four corner of law. Right? So this, like payment schedule, I can change it. Correct? Then as I said, color mark deviation and deviation on letterhead, you have to give these two items. Now, as of today, maximum project registrations are held up because of this issue. Because promoter are not able to understand this is a new subject. So there are so many queries coming on this count, and then the delays are there. Yeah. Previously, this deviation report was not on a public view. Public view means you can go to MAHA RERA website. There is one tab registration. Under that registration tab, you can click registered project. Either you mention project name, promoter name, or registration number. These three items are there. So you get the public view of that portal. Now, recently in the 2022, they have made all the forms as a public view, except form number 3, which is issued by chartered accountant. So even form number 5, the audit report what we issue, form number 2, that is engineer certificate, which reflects the financial data. Now this should not have been kept in a public view, because this is for the MAHA RERA to decide whether there is a diversion or not. But now they have made it public view of form 5 also. So we should be very, very careful while issuing form 5 also, because now they have changed the format of form 5. There are so many reporting requirements. So now this our public view is enabled. So except form 3, everything is public view now. So one can see, except some email ID or PAN number of the company or some profile of the director or partner, rest everything is public view. Correct? Yeah. So we'll just. Correct. Change. Yeah. Yeah. Order 31. Mhm. Yes. So this is order 31, because 30 was replaced and then order 31 is there. I'll just show you. Yeah. Yeah. So this clause B in order 31 was there, which says that the table in clause 9 allowed prescribed minimum period within which booking can be cancelled and upper limit of percentage. So promoter may, if the promoter so chooses, increase the number of day for the forfeiture within which booking can be cancelled, as well as decrease the percentage. So both the things are beneficial to allottee on the event of cancellation in the allotment letter prescribed. So this clause is removed in order 35. I will show you that also later. So now what are the, now we'll see the allotment letter format. So it contains the details of the plot, apartment, then price consideration, then allotment of open parking. Again, this is a misconception, because as per Supreme Court judgment, under MOFA also, and even under RERA also, open parking comes under the common areas. It cannot be sold or allotted by the promoter, because this is the prerogative of the association of allottee. Now, association of allottee can be of various kinds. Say, for example, commonly known as a cooperative housing society. Second is a condominium of apartment, that is under Apartment Ownership Act. And third is a company registered under Companies Act. There also we can have the association of allotee. So here they say we have been allotted. Now again, this can be subject matter of challenge, because promoter cannot allot. Tomorrow if the society is formed, and lot of issues are going on in society currently, where promoter has allotted the open parking, but then society has reversed all the open parking, and then they decide either by way of a lottery or by way of a circulation or by way of a auction, whatever. That is the right of the society. So again, this item is challengeable. Then consideration. Now here, these events are there. How many payments are to be done? I'll just show you that forfeiture. Yeah. So if within 15 days of issuance of letter, then no deduction to be done. Then from 16 to 30 days, 1%, 31 to 60 days, 1.5%. This is what is a model allotment letter. But now with removal of that clause, which was there in order 31, now promoter can do anything. So it becomes a commercial contract between two persons. Correct? Unfortunately, the allotee association is not so strong as compared to the promoter association like MCHI, NAREDCO, or there is one builder association of India. So they are very strong. They time and again give their representation, and this is the result of their representation before MAHA RERA. So they have removed these clauses. So this is the allotment letter. Now coming to order 35. Again, order 31 is superseded by order 35. So here I'll show you where it has been removed. That see this. After A, there was B. The big clause was there in order 31. So they have removed this from order 35. So now the promoter is free to charge whatever they want to charge. Yes. Yes, because for ongoing project in 2017, this model agreement was given, right? So at that time of registration, there was no requirement of deviation report. This requirement came in 2022. But now if you go for any other application, say for example, application for extension of the project under section 6 or 7.3, or application to make changes either in project name or type of project or FSI change, then they will tell you to do all these things. Now with that order 38, they say that this clause will become void ab initio. You can't change this clause. So even if it is mentioned, we'll come to that. That will become null and void. So these are all subject matter of litigation, because by way of regulation, whether MAHA RERA can do this or not. That is one fundamental question. Yes, yes. See, I am within the four corner of law in my agreement, because my agreement, it may happen in ongoing project, my agreements were executed in MOFA, right? So that. Yes, 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 yes. No, there was no such requirement. This came after they understood that, because from the litigation, that this is required. So they came, so in India, we have the system of first put up the law, then develop the litigation, then develop the law, and so on. So that's why our job increases, professional job. That's why we have to have all this webinar and all this thing. Right? Yeah. See, covered parking and stake parking can be sold because in model agreement itself, they have provided a line whereby you can charge a consideration for that. But if I look at the Supreme Court judgment in, uh, there was one judgment in Supreme Court under MOFA, Panchali Society. In that judgment, Supreme Court has said that you can allot the covered parking. Now, charging, you can charge up to the cost what you have incurred. Because there is a cost to build a stake parking, there is a cost to build a stilled parking or a upper level parking, podium parking. So all that you can cover. In model agreement, they have provided a line whereby you can charge it. But generally it is seen that developer are now very smart. They have one box price only. That is all inclusive. Sometimes they include stamp duty registration also. They include GST also. So they give one box price, means because now under DC regulation, for say 2 BHK, there is a one mandatory parking. For 3 BHK, there are two men. So they have to follow all these things. So they have their product design in such a way, if you are booking a 2 BHK, then you will have one parking, stilt or stake, whatever it is. And this is the box price. Yes, yes, because now for registering an agreement where there is a parking, you have to attach one another form wherein you have to mention what type of parking you have. So it is like that. Some area is there, 1.13 square meter, I think. 140 square feet area is earmarked for a parking a car, four-wheeler vehicle. So on that valuation, whatever valuation comes, you have to take only 25% of that valuation, and on that regular stamp duty is payable. So that has to be disclosed while registering. So while registering, when there is a stamp duty calculation, this aspect is taken care of.
And sometimes the members who want the extra area, they have collected, but they have not sold to the open market to the other people. Whether this will be covered under the RERA.
Yeah, I didn't get you. What were it?
And inside is not for a self-redevelopment. So they have collected funds from the members and they have initiated the process. And few of the members want the extra area in the self-redevelopment. That's whether it is covered.
See, now this question is again a very important question. What he is saying is that forget about the self-development. I would say it's a regular redevelopment. Okay. Now developer has terms. Okay, I will give you 20% more area, which is free of cost to the existing member. Then he also gives offer. Okay, one can buy 10% more at, say, price is 25,000, but for the member, I will charge only 20,000. So that is one more condition is there. Anything above that, he will charge a regular price. Now, whether a member taking an extra area of that 10%, whether we can say that it is sale or it is not a sale for the purpose of RERA, registration. Because whether it can amount to marketing or not, first fundamental question. So to my mind, it is not a marketing, because this is the terms of the redevelopment itself, because without this redevelopment could not be given a consent, cannot proceed. So to my mind, such kind of arrangement cannot fall in as a marketing. So we cannot say that, say for example, the apartment is of 700 carpet area. My original was 400. I was to get 500 because of free area. Now 200 I have bought at a discounted price, additional area. Now this 700 is one apartment only. It is not that there are two apartments. So I am not marketing that apartment. Correct. He is just taking a additional area because of the terms of the development. Otherwise, so they become the equity holder. Now, rather nowadays, whenever there is a redevelopment of the society, MAHA RERA is insisting that society should also be the promoter. They say you mention it either as a area sharing or revenue sharing. Ideally, it should be area sharing only, because society is the owner of the land and building. So they get area, they allot that area to the member. Correct. Again, for that apartment, the original member was holding one share certificate. Again, he is going to hold the same share certificate. So basically, when I sell my apartment, I sell my shares, not my apartment. Because by virtue of that shares, I have right to enjoy that occupation of that apartment. We cannot sell the apartment. What I am selling is I am selling the shares of the cooperative society. Correct. So that cannot be the this question often comes. Okay, what will happen, whether this amounts to marketing or not? To my mind, no, because suppose tomorrow, first of all, whether is covered under RERA for various relief, that is also a question. Like a normal allottee. I am a member, I am getting free area. Now there is a allottee who has purchased, and tomorrow there is a structural defect. Now, whether I am covered under RERA for that structural defect, because nothing is sold to me. If I look at the definition of the allottee, it covers all the things. To whom it is allotted, sold, or transferred, otherwise everything. But there are judgment in MAHA RERA where they say that such kind of arrangement is a equity holder. They are the equity holder, like tenant, landowner, and society member. They are the equity holder. Because of their concerned, redevelopment happens. So they don't have any relief. Now again, if I take some extra area and tomorrow some defect comes, suppose I have 700 carpet apartment, my entitlement was 500 only, correct? So 200 I have bought it. Now there is some structural defect. Now which area I would say it is a structural defect? Out of 200 or out of 500? The structural defect is only in say 50 square feet. So again, all these issues are there. But as of today, society is taken as a promoter. So once you are a promoter, then you cannot have the relief. So members of the society, tenant, does or even slum rehab, SRA, they also do not have any relief under RERA. Yes, because this is prior to actual starting of the process. See, you execute alternate accommodation agreement. Correct? So you will get rent, or you may or may not get rent, corpus, shifting allowance, and so these are the terms of that agreement. Correct? So now we'll go to the model agreement. Now, as I said, this was introduced in 2017. So this explanatory note is very clear. It says that I can, this shall be written in each and every agreement. Any clause found contrary or inconsistent with any provision of the Act, rules and regulation would be void ab initio. Now they say regulation also. Correct. So it means that now by way of regulation, they are saying that some clauses are non-changeable. Correct. So here they have given liberty, you can change, modify. The very first line, this is a model form of agreement which may be modified and adapted in each case. But now they are restricting. So we'll just quickly move what are the point of deviation, how it can happen. Where deviation can come. I'll just, yeah. Now this carpet area, again, carpet area is now has to be as per RERA only. You can't make any deviation in this. But the many times the developer tell us how I should, because ultimately any end user is interested in not RERA carpet area. He is interested in usable carpet area. So how I should ensure that? So you can always mention RERA carpet plus other carpet area as per plan. So total usable carpet is this. Because buyer is interested to know what I am going to use it. Because tomorrow he want to sell it, his pricing would be dependent on the usable carpet, not RERA carpet. Because RERA carpet excludes the balcony area, veranda, terraces, whereas there is a value attached to that also when we sell our flat. Correct? Internal wall also, RERA carpet ignores. Correct? There you should mention the RERA carpet only. Because you cannot charge for other areas. You have to make your agreement in such a way, you charge for RERA carpet area. These are the additional area as per plan. Then this consideration is now, as I said, now there would be a box pricing. So you need not have all these considerations separate. You can have only one box price only straight away. Covered parking. Now under agreement, they say covered parking, but under allotment letter, they say open parking. See, this agreement is provided by rules, whereas allotment letter is provided by regulation. So again, there is a gap between the allotment letter and agreement, because here they say only covered parking, stilt, basement, podium, and so on. Open parking cannot be, yes. Open parking is generally open to the sky on the common areas. It is on the common. Podium is also open to sky, but that is not open parking. That podium is built. We have podium also, they are also open to sky is there, but that is a podium parking. Open parking is generally on the land. That is the question. I doubt. I doubt promoter can do that. That is illegal thing. That is illegal thing. That even society cannot do. Correct. Because now the plan itself mentions how many parkings are required. So there is a parking plan also available. This is the payment schedule. One can definitely change the payment schedule. Say, for example, here it is mentioned that on possession 5% is to be retained. So developer can say, I will retain only 2%. That is possible, but you have to mention in your deviation. Now, price excluding taxes. So you can have inclusive also arrangement. So that's why this is escalation free. You can have the escalation clause also. Now, because of this COVID, promoter have realized if anything such thing happens, then there are 2-3 years are gone, then price escalates. So now this escalation clause are also there. Final carpet area. Now what happens? The promoter says that RERA carpet is this much in agreement, but while taking the possession, there is some change. So what model agreement says that it cannot be more than 3%. If it is more than 3% or less than 3%, then either of the party has to exchange the price. If it is more, then allotee will have to pay the price, what is agreed consideration. And if it is less, then builder will have to give. So 3% is the benchmark now. Then this FSI. Now this FSI, previously this issue comes when there is a layout development. It does not come when there is a stand-alone building. Because of this DCPR changes, under layout, if I am developing only phase 1 today, there are totally 6 phases, and in between the FSI increases, then the promoter tries to utilize that increased FSI in remaining this thing. So all these are litigation issue, but now under model agreement, we have to mention, and even on MAHA RERA registration portal also, you have to mention what is the total proposed FSI you are going to use, out of which how much is approved and how much is unapproved. And we have to update it as and when it gets approved. So this is that clause. Yeah, then termination. Then termination also, there is a standard format under allotment. You have to give, you have to send 3 reminder. If there are 3 default, then you can terminate as a promoter. So that guidelines is given now under allotment letter. Then amenities, also you have to mention amenities in Annexure E. So if there is a change in the amenities, again the litigation can crop up. Now, possession. Now under MOFA, I have seen many agreements where developer have not mentioned the date of possession at all. and many people have just signed the agreement, registered the agreement. So there are so many judgment on that कि when the date of possession is not mentioned, it cannot be taken as an indefinite. There has to be a reasonability, and there is one Supreme Court judgment which says that 3 to 4 years is a reasonable period. Now again, it depends on the how much storied building it is, but that can be reasonability can be achieved through an engineer certificate कि how much time such kind of building takes to complete, but it cannot be indefinite. But now under RERA, you have to mention the date of possession. There are no automatic extension of 6 months, what was there under MOFA, correct? Now here, they say ke what extension you will get is only these two item and one more is mentioned in rule. That is, if there is some injunction order of any court not to do any construction or like that. So there you will get this thing. So here they say war, civil or act of God, any notice, order, rule, competent where injunction is granted. Now this act of God is a very gray area. Now whether COVID is an act of God or it's a man-made, correct? That is the question because, but they have given, the Central Advisory Council has given some 6-month extension for COVID. MAHA RERA has given 12 months. But again, all this litigation will come up because now all that litigations are coming before, because if my date of possession falls in say August 20, and till today I have not received the possession, for example. Now COVID period declared by Supreme Court is March 25th March 20 to 28 February 2022. This is the for the purpose of filing the application in court or judicial matter that is given. So whether that would be excluded or not, if my date of possession falls prior to COVID period, I doubt that this benefit would be available. But if it falls in this, then certainly litigation would be there. How much time? Because yes, there was in COVID also, we understood that for at least 1 year, there were no activities, and particularly on site, because there was so much migration of labor and all these things, correct? So now all this litigation will come, but now they say that you cannot go beyond this, means there cannot be any other force measure. Say for example, non-availability of raw material, non-availability of water, electricity. All this was otherwise a reasonable ground, but now, but again, these are to be tested because by way of rules, can you bring such kind of no, now this order 38 says you can't, even if you write it, it would be, that writing would be void ab initio. Now structural defect within a period of 5 years of possession, yes. See, allottee will file a complaint. I want, because see, during this COVID period, has any financial institution forgone my interest part? No, correct? I had to pay rent also because there is a delay. So I was to occupy this house or I was to rent it. So I lost either rental opportunity or I have to pay the rent. So all this litigation will come, certainly will come. Yes, he can ask, but now whether this 2 years period will be excluded, all that will depend on the coming up litigation, how it is going to come up. Correct. Now, structural defect liability, poor quality workmanship and all these things, this 5 years is timeline from the date of possession offered by the developer, not from the date of possession taken by the allottee. Suppose developer has said you take the possession in December 22, and if somebody comes after 5 years and take possession, then that is not applicable. It has to be from the date of possession offered by the promoter. So here again, the promoters were putting many clauses, many disclaimer, and some were reasonable also. Like say for example, if I change my bathroom fittings and then claim workman quality, poor leakage, because of my change in bathroom, downside there is a leakage. So we do many changes. We have AC also fittings and all these things. We do many, at terraces also we have this antenna, all these things. Now whether developer will say, okay, I have given you a particular piece of land and building. Now you have made changes. And because of this, now there is, so all that again would be subject to litigation. Correct? Now formation of society, as per local law, we have the local law, that is Maharashtra Cooperative Housing Society. So all that will apply. Now under RERA, it says, once the 51% booking is done, you have to start the formation of the society. So this also cannot be changed. Then conveyance is there. Yeah. Now these other charges, which generally developer takes. Now model agreement also provides for this. Now they give this 5-6 item only, like water, electricity. Now what about the clubhouse charges taken? Now whether that would be a deviation. So again, the developer now will go to the box price only. They will not write here, these are the clubhouse charges, whatever they used to mention. So here they have mentioned some limited item only. So that needs to be maintained. Yeah, figures are discretionary, but you cannot add the heads. So this, well, I was referring this structural defect. So this was the warranties given by the allottee. Yeah, he will not do anything demolish in the apartment and all these things. Then even for the common maintenance charges, generally promoter maintains for 1 or 2 years. They have to maintain a separate bank account. That audit has to be done and the balance has to be handed over to the society later on. This provision was there in MOFA also. This is important. He cannot mortgage the apartment which is once sold to me. So after my taking the apartment, he cannot create a mortgage. So it has happened in many cases that he has mortgaged that also. So that would become unlawful. Recently, there is one Supreme Court judgment under Rajasthan Regulatory Authority. There the mortgage was created after RERA coming into picture. So whether provisions of RERA will apply or provisions of SURFACE will apply. Because there was a valid mortgage created by the banker. They wanted to enforce that mortgage, and because of that, the project is in danger. So then the Supreme Court said if the mortgage is created after RERA coming into picture, then provisions of RERA will apply and not the SURFACE. And even if the mortgage is created prior to RERA, and if there are some fraud done by the financial institution, then again also provisions of RERA will apply, because these are all special law. Under Noida Authority, there was one case, Bikram Chatterjee, Amrapali Group of Company. There, the Supreme Court has held that financial institutions should be watchful while giving the disbursement of loan to the developer. They should check the end use of the money. So in that case, the end use was not verified. It was proved that there was a leniency on the part of the financial creditor, and there the Supreme Court has ordered that first complete the project. If anything remains, then the financial creditor can take away. So the rights of home buyers were protected under that judgment. So that has to be, because in many NBFC, we have seen they never check the end use of the money. Even the project is just 25% over, they used to give 100% of the allottee fund to the developer. Under that that arrangement, that interest would be paid by the developer. Subvention scheme, under that subvention. See, any lender, particularly for banking, those who are governed by RBI, their business is to look into the check and end use of the money. And for even debenture holder also, because they were to check the end use also. So all that will apply. Yeah. So this was all about the model agreement. Yeah. So now coming to the yeah. So guidance for flow of registration. Now, how exactly once we file the application before MAHA RERA, now there can be various kind of application. One is application for project registration. Second is application for extension of the already project which is registered. We go for extension under 6, which is automatic 1 year. And we go for extension under section 7(3), which can be more than 1 year. But there we require the consent of the allottee, 51%. And for any other change in the application, say for example, change in the name of the project, change in the estimate of the cost of the project, we don't require consent. But for changing the FSI, we require consent under section 14. We require 67% consent. Correct. So that is important. So all these application that will be done like this. So scene one is that there is some mismatch or some queries raised by the MAHA RERA. Then that would be treated as an incomplete application. For example, I have submitted one application on 1st December and the query is raised on 10th December by MAHA RERA. So that would become incomplete application. I cannot say that now you should give me my registration within 30 days, because section 5, there is a provision. Once I file the application, I should get my registration within 30 days. Otherwise, it would be a deemed registration. Correct. So that would become incomplete application. So it comes back to me. Then again, I resubmit it with query, solution, and all these things. If it is okay, it will go to the next level. They have 4 levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4. At level 1, there are 3 kind of checking. One is technical, one is financial, and one is legal. Financial, they check Form 3, Form 2, all these things. Technical, they check FSI and plan approval. And legal, they check all this, agreement, deviation, your CC, and all these things. Correct. So, and then if everything is okay, it goes to level 2. Level 2, there is one independent officer who will again check it for whatever queries are raised, whether it is okay or not. And then it goes to level 3, which is secretary level. And then level 4 is the chairman level. Once it goes to level 1, once it cross level 2, then there is no issue. Secretary and chairman, they just approve it, unless there are some further defect found out by the secretary or the chairman. So level 4 is the chairman, and then they process the application and the registration certificate is granted, or application for extension, etc. is approved. Correct. So this is the way. And you have submitted deviation report, but MAHA RERA is not satisfied. Then you will have to change it. Change. Otherwise, there is one open house also. I will come to that. No. First of all, the project registration stage, unless you get number, there is no question of allottee. So first we have to pass this exam, then allottee exam. Yes. So if it is okay, it goes to next level. Otherwise, we have to resubmit, and we can take the use of the help desk also. But generally, this help desk is never of help. If not okay, then again send back to the, sorry. I think there is Control I. स्लाइड में क्या है? स्लाइड में अच्छा ये ओके ओके यस ओके सर if okay it is next level so they give two chance for resubmitting and then there is a concept of open house every Friday they have the open house which is that in that open house committee there are representative of the developer and the representative from the MAHA RERA and the promoter and his authorized representative can join that Zoom meeting where that specific query, for example, what you are want to say, okay, this is not deviation. You can explain that. If they are convinced, they will accept it like that. But recently they have issued one order wherein now they have made this SRO. There is one concept called SRO, self-regulatory organization. Now this SRO are the developer association, MCHI, CREDI, BI. There are 4-5 such SRO registered with MAHA RERA. So now when we take the project registration, first we have to become the member of any of this SRO project wise. Because what MAHA RERA does, MAHA RERA send all a common mail to SRO wherever there are some changes, then SRO communicate to their members. So by that MAHA RERA want to ensure that information reaches to all the promoters. So we have to take that SRO registration. So in that circular, they say that now even chartered accountant cannot go in MAHA RERA office for roving inquiries for project registration. So what they say is that the representative of SRO, respective SRO will coordinate with MAHA RERA team. So now as a developer, we have to choose the SRO who is more efficient. Then, so again, we are making representation, but this is just recently last month they have, and this is applicable from tomorrow, 1st January. Till today, I can go to MAHA RERA, but from tomorrow, then if I want to go, then I have to show the reason why I'm. So now in income tax also, when we want to go, we have to show the reason why we are coming here. Correct. So this is what has happened. So this in open house, you can solve your queries. Circular number 42, I'll show you. So even after open house, if you are not able to solve the queries, then they will close the application. Means it would be get rejected and as if you have not filed any application. But if you want to reopen it, you can do so. But then you have to pay for the very first attempt, you have to pay 25% additional of the project registration fee. Even if you fail there, then 40%. So 2 chance more are given to you. Correct. Now, generally, what we discussed, agreement for sale and allotment letter, landowner, developer, development manager, allottee, and secured creditor. These are the parties who are getting affected in that contractual relationship. Now, recently, yesterday, I got one message wherein the NCDRC, National Consumer Forum, has given one judgment where the landowner is also held jointly and severally responsible to the allottee for delay in project. Now, under development agreement, the obligations are very clearly mentioned. What is the obligation of landowner? That is, he has to prove his title, and the obligation of developer is to complete the project. So landowner is generally a passive person. He handovers the lands to the developer, but now this is a disturbing judgment which has come recently. Yeah, this all we have seen, deviation, what I have shown you, the model agreement. So these are all the deviation area which we have seen. I'll just quickly go through it. This I have already covered in model agreement. 1 minute. I'll just show you. Order 38. Yeah. So this order 38 is about the non-negotiable clauses in the agreement. So they say that they have come to a knowledge that many promoters are changing the clauses. Now, which are these clauses? It is noticed that promoter are attempting to expand the definition of force majeure. Now, this force majeure definition is given under section 6, that is for extension of the project timeline. Now, extension of project timeline is different from what I am mentioning in my agreement for sale. Say, for example, I am registering a project with a deadline of say 2028. But if some customer comes, he says, I want in building number A, I want on or before 26. So I can mention 26. I cannot mention 2029. Correct. So 26 I can mention in my agreement for sale. So my obligation towards that allot is 2026 and not 2028. Correct. So what they say is this force majeure cannot be changed. What we have discussed, that war or act of God and some injunction order and all these things. So again, this would be subject to challenge. So one cannot change this. Even if you change it, it would become void ab initio. So this is one change. Then second is the time period for formation of the association of allottee by whatever name called. Now here again, there are various provision, Apartment Ownership Act, Cooperative Society Act, Company Act. So again, they say that you cannot change this. Whatever is mentioned in MAHA RERA has to be followed. Again, this all would be subject to litigation because under Apartment Ownership Act, condominium, there are different timelines provided. That has to be done only and only after the project is completed. Whereas here they say that after 51% booking, you have to start initiate formation of association of allottee. No, entire project you have to count. Suppose landowner has sold it. Now again, landowner, whether he sells or does not sell, again, he will be taken as a member. So whether he is a allottee, because now on MAHA RERA portal, apart from what you mentioned in the apartment sold, unsold, number of apartments sold, unsold, you have to upload one PDF file wherein you have to mention all the apartment, whether it is for sale or not. Then you have to mention it is reserved for landowner or reserved for the member of society. It is mortgage with the bank, registered, unregistered, booked, unbooked, all that category is there. So that form has to match with your form 3, that is chartered accountant certificate. And just for your knowledge, in Maharashtra, we have around 40% stall project. We have one panel discussion on 16th January on this stall project where representative from MAHA RERA is also coming. Some architects are also coming. We are conducting that. So we have 40%. So as of today, nearly 26,000 projects are live in Maharashtra. Maharashtra has done 37,000 registration, of which some 10,000 are completed. So today, Maharashtra is a leader in entire India. More than 50% projects are registered in Maharashtra alone. Entire India, it is 75,000. Correct. But out of this 26,000, 10,000 projects are stall projects or stress projects. Their timelines may or may not be over, but they are stalled for some reason because of COVID. Because there are so many events happened after 2016, that is demonetization, GST, then COVID. So because of that, these numbers are increasing and the customer confidence for under construction is going down. Today, if the choice is given to any person, whether you want to go for under construction or ready-made flat, he would prefer the ready-made flat. Because he will say, I'll see the flat, even if it costs more, I'll buy it in second sale. So that confidence level is going down. And we have made representation, and that's why this panel discussion is kept on 16 January. We should address this situation. And for whenever there are stalled or stressed projects, the first target would be chartered accountant. Because they have issued form 3, form 5. So form 3 is for use of the project fund for the project, and Form 5 is for diversion, if there is. So if something goes wrong, then this Form 3 and Form 5 would be under scanner. Already in Gujarat, so many forensic audit has been done, and in one or two cases, matter has been referred to disciplinary committee also. In Maharashtra, fortunately, till now, it has not happened, but it is likely to happen because now they have appointed some authorized valuer also, who are the valuer from IBBI on panel. In case of this stalled and stressed project, they can go to, they will be asked to go to the project and they will have to make a separate assessment, what is the cost incurred as according to them and what is shown in engineer certificate or chartered accountant certificate. So if there are some mismatch, then that would be an issue. So these are various defect liabilities also not mentioned. So what they say is that now again this carpet area. In model agreement, they say ke 3% leverage. After that, you have to exchange the money. But here they say, no, you can't do anything. You have to, means you cannot change this 3%. Whereas in model agreement, they say you can change this percentage. If the other party is ready, there is no harm in changing the percent. But here they say no. This is for termination policy. See, the rule which are is non-negotiable, irrespective of what is agreed of between promoter and allottee. So even if in all these clauses, both the party agrees otherwise, they say that this would be treated as a void ab initio and not binding on the allottee. Even if allottee has agreed to it. And all application for registration when there is a violation of the above clause shall be liable to be summary rejection. So again, see, these are the clauses of model agreement only, but promoter were making some changes in all these clauses. So now literally promoter are forced now to adopt the model agreement. They just change their history and adopt the model agreement, because that is the best way to get the registration. Then we have to give a declaration, there are no deviations. Yes, yes, can be done. See, you have to upload that modified agreement, you have to upload the deviation report also, and then you execute agreement with customer. But with this circular now, order, they say okay, this would become void ab initio. So what they want to say is they don't tamper with model agreement, adopt it. But this was the scenario. But now they say that this would be, so again there would be litigation on this. The big developer will say that we will not agree to this. Then I'll show you that order 42, wherein that SRO role is there. Now here, this self-regulatory organization registered with MAHA RERA will nominate 2 persons. So suppose for the builder for whom I am doing registration or I am pursuing one application, he is registered with NAREDCO, then I have to follow up with NAREDCO representative. He will go to MAHA RERA and he will do follow up. I am not allowed to go to MAHA RERA. So these are all the formalities. There they says, if promoter wants to meet MAHA RERA people, he can do so, but with that SRO people only. But authorized representative like chartered accountant, he cannot go alone. Then promoter has to be there along with them. So they are trying to avoid so many people coming to MAHA RERA, and then there are allegations that the registration is granted hurriedly or without looking into all this. See, after this KDMC issue, what they did for MCGM, Mumbai Corporation, because MCGM website is very good website. So they have tagged all the approvals of MCGM website to MAHA RERA website. So once I go and click, yes, I am registered under, my project is, plan is approved by MCGM, then I have to select the file from that window only. Otherwise, I cannot just put land records. I have to select that file. So that is one. But now across Maharashtra, there are so many approval authorities. For example, municipal corporations are there, Nagar Parishads are there, collectors are there, MMRDA is there, MAHA is there. So there are so many planning authorities. So there the tagging is not possible. So particularly for KDMC or beyond Thana like the Dombivli, Bhiwandi or any other. Now what they have done is they send one mail to that respective Dombivli corporation. Okay, this is what has been applied by a promoter, whether this certificate is issued by you or not, to check the genuineness. So then once the email comes, then and then only application gets processed. So here we have given the suggestion that you give this responsibility to the architect, form number 1 issuing. Okay, he has verified the genuineness of the plan approved and all these things. But unfortunately, today also for new project, form number 1 and 2 are not compulsory. Form number 3 is compulsory. So that also we have brought to their notice. This should be made compulsory so that some check is there by the this thing. So again, by this procedure, there will be lot of UN cry because this will get started from 1st January. So in time to come, because promoters are connected with us. Yeah. So we people are doing project registration, application and all these things. And now suddenly SRO people have to go and follow up. He may not understand what I want to say. So again, this issue is going to come. Let us see what happens. So these are all the hiccups in project registration and various applications. So far as what are the formalities of project registration, I think there are many lectures taken prior to there, but MAHA RERA website has all the info. Once you log in, then you will find all the document. Like you have to, recently they have brought one document called SARSAI. Now this SARSAI is a credit report. Even if there are no mortgages, just you mention the land records and you have the asset based search. So you get a nil report. Or if there are mortgage, then that mortgage, so that you have to upload that SARSAI report. So all these are some additional items. But more complex area is this deviation of model agreement and model allotment letter and the procedures of registration, what now they want to implement. So we have to be very, very careful while issuing form 3 also, because again, this KDMC issue, I don't think chartered accountant would be under scanner, because in all these 60, 70 building, more than 50% buildings are already occupied by the people. And now this issue is, now they have deregistered the project. Now there is no concept of deregistration under RERA. There is no, because once the license, once the license is granted, you have done everything, you have mobilized the money. After 5 years, you are deregistering the project. So where this allotee will go for the complaint? So deregistration is not a solution, but now they have realized and now they have tightened up all the scrutiny level. So now it takes minimum 20 to 30 days, even after rigorous follow-up, for a project registration or any application to be approved. Before issuing? No, see, there is one judgment recently, again, that is under challenge. What happened in that, there were some 50, 60 allotee. So developer want to call off the project. So he wanted to deregister the project. Now there is no provision under Act to deregister the project. So out of that 50, he almost paid to 45 people with interest. He want to change the project. Previously it was residential, now we want to have commercial. But 5 allotee, they were not agreeing. They said, no, we want this. So then MAHA RERA has issued the order of deregistration, saying that 90% of the allotee agrees and he is ready to pay the money with interest. It is not that he is not giving interest. He is giving you money with 9% interest. And even High Court in many cases have said that if you are not able to give the possession, then you can frustrate your agreement. You can pay the money with interest. in the High Court, when the RERA Act came, 2017, there were so many writ petition filed across India. The main heading of that writ was Neel Kamal Realtors. So all that writ petition were clubbed together, and then Supreme Court assigned this task to Bombay High Court. So there also in one of the para, Bombay High Court has said that if the developer is unable to complete the project because of some reason, then he can frustrate the agreement. He can pay off with interest and cancel. So in that case, these 5 allottees were not agreeing. So they deregistered the project. But now this 5 allottee have gone to tribunal for in appeal. So let us see what happens. But deregistration is possible, but specific provision is not there. You can withdraw the registration before the registration number is granted. Then there would be a deduction of 5,000 rupees. But deregistration as such, there is no provision. So with this, I think I have covered the today's topic. Yes, we will take up the questions. Yeah. Opportunity of what? So they are not getting the flat, correct? Say for example, they have booked flat in say Sayane, Matunga area, correct? In say 2017, they booked at 15,000 square feet. Today the price is 30,000. Now this interest is insufficient to cover that rise. This is your question. So there allottee can make a statement. Okay, look, today prevailing price is this much. So I need to be compensated. This 9% interest is not sufficient. So their stand can be taken by the authority. One has to prove that. No, no. How the authority will come to know that today, if I want to go for flat in Matunga, this would be the price for similar flat. The incremental you have to prove. No? There is a ASR value is available. Or you can prove your thing by valuation, submission of valuation report also. If ASR value is lower, if you feel fair value is much higher, then you can do that. But then all that would be subject to litigation. And even by paying, say, the flat is of say 3 crore rupees. By paying 20 lakh rupees, can you say that now this 3 crore has become 5 crore? So I want this 2 crore compensation. Can you say that? You have paid only 15 lakh rupees. Developer has not demanded more than that. Only 5% you have paid. Now that 3 crore has become 5 crore. Can you ask that 2 crore rupees? By paying 15 lakh. Have you paid 3 crore rupees? You could have asked for this 2 crore. 3 crore I have paid, I have not received the possession. And today I want to book, then I have to pay 5 crore. Then it is a fair. But by paying 15 lakh, I doubt. On the equity ground also, I doubt. Now, at that point of time, developer will not show his intention. He says, I want to call off the project. Simple. If he says, I want to convert this, then there will be issue. Then that compensation problem will come. So while going for deregistration, he will say, I just want to call off the project. Yes, any?
The promoter has to submit. The declaration what promoter has to submit, like no encumbrance declaration, financial
Yeah.
no encumbrances. So the date of those declaration has to be within 1 month of the date of submission, or it can be before that also.
No. There are no such guideline, but it has to be recent one only.
Recent
See.
meaning within 1 month.
It should be like, it cannot be for a longer period. Now, there are 3 kind of declaration. One is financial encumbrance. So if any mortgage is created, you are aware of it. So you have to upload that. Then there is a declaration of the encumbrance on separate bank account. If generally there won't be any. Then legal encumbrance. So if there are some litigation that you have to show. So these are the encumbrance. What used to happen in previously, now they have provided one summary title report recently, 1 year before.
Summary title.
Summary title report. Previously, the promoter used to upload 100 pages title report. So nobody understand, even MAHA RERA people does not give how the flow. So now they want the flow of title summary is there. So that should be recent one. Otherwise, we have seen project is registered in 2017, but title report was of 2010.
Okay.
Now that is outdated title report because you have to show the current title.
And that declaration by the promoter, that Form B, declaration by the promoter, that also needs to be the recent one or 2 or 3
Recent.
months?
It has
before
to be
that?
recent one.
Okay, means 2-3 months before.
Yeah, 1 or
is
2 months is
acceptable.
okay, but not more than that.
Okay, and all the certificates like Form 3 certificate.
Yes,
it also
that
needs
should
to-
be within a reasonable time. There is no guidelines as such, but it should be reasonable.
Okay.
I cannot sign Form 3 and then promoter after 1 year goes and register the project.
Mhm.
Then many things have changed
Okay,
in estimates and everything.
okay.
Thereafter, nothing has been done.
Thereafter now project is completed 70%. And now he wants to regularize the,
So he has to upload at least every March, because see, Form 5, the person who is issuing Form 5 has to check Form 3. You cannot issue Form 5 without checking Form 3 or Form 2 of the year end.
so
Because-
all 4-5 years, whatever are there.
Has to be done. Actually, there is no clarity. It is required quarterly, but at some places they say till my limit is exhausted. But at least once in a year on 31st March, it should be done. Because now this, what apartment details we have to upload. What are the apartment reserved mortgage? There also they have put one line. Okay, this should be reconciled with Form 3. So that is mandatory every quarter. So it means that Form 3 also needs to be issued every quarter.
So as a professional, suppose that job comes to us for regularize it. Whether any specific note or any
You see,
comments
now
you-
under Form 3 and Form 5, there is last table is there, any other comment? There you can mention all these things.
But some suggestions have come that, last 3 quarters you submitted and put a note, make a comment that it is not done in the past. Is that,
So then you will be required to do all the checking. See, Form 5, the intention of Form 5 is to check the diversion of fund. Form 3 and Form 5 intention is very clear. The project fund should be used for project only. If there is no Form 3, then you have to undergo all the exercise. Because it has to be done by 2 independent auditors.
Form 5 is complied. They have prepared the Form 5 and submitted.
In
it.
many cases, this has happened.
Yeah.
Project is registered in 2017 and then thereafter no Form 3 is issued. Even
Correct.
banker has not asked it.
Yeah.
Correct. And in many cases, Form 5 is also not issued for 5 years. But now they are issuing so-cause notices to many people. And recently they have issued so-cause notices by way of a speed post to some 300 promoter, whereby they give 1 month window to regularize everything. And if they don't do, then after that, they will start levying penalty.
So.
In
what
fact,
is-
in Maharashtra, the promoters were taking it so lightly.
Yes.
When we used to go and approach, your quarterly compliance is not done. Arey, MAHA RERA to kuch puchta nahi. Means,
Yeah.
why you are so concerned? But now that thing will change.
So what is the correct approach? we should
Approach is, according to me, at least every 31st March, all the forms should be there.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Because see, if some fraud comes, for example, engineer has given a certificate, okay, 10 crore is spent on construction.
Oh.
In the books also, the bills are there. But architect is saying ke zero construction, then So all these forms should be aligned. You have to look into all these forms. If architect is saying there is no work done, so there could be possibility of fraud.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. No, in Form 3, they don't want, they want only sale apartment only.
No, they want sale as well as unsold apartment both. But if
Ah.
we take up the total, the rehab area is also been allotted to the existing tenants.
But that is not an unsold area.
No, for which they will not recover any money, but the total area will differ. What they have approved.
In Form 3, under Table C,
Table C, yeah.
they want details of apartment available for sale.
Available
Because
for
your,
sale.
your total of unsold value
Yes.
will decide whether project is viable or not.
No, but then the number area in carpet, square meters, it won't tally as per the uploaded on the portal because the
Correct.
rehab area will not come in the, if we are not
Yes.
giving, and even if
Yes.
it's given in the rehab area in the Form 3, it make any problem to the chartered accountants?
No problem.
Because then in that case, what will happen? Sold area, rehab area and unsold area, that total area will cover as per the project.
But then chartered accountant is not a competent person to decide on the area of the project. See, what we are certifying is the inflow and outflow.
Okay.
So that we have to ensure.
Okay, thank you, sir.
On the agreement, because many times there is a difference between that agreement value and the ready reckoner value.
See, for sold apartment, agreement value has to be taken
Okay.
because it is already a concluded deal.
Okay.
For unsold, valuation as per ASR value, but in many cases, it happens that ASR value is much lower. Say, for example, Nepean Road. ASR value would be very low as compared to fair value. So there you can take a valuation report and chartered accountant can mention this, this is the apprehension of the management. So he can mention both the value as per ASR, value as per valuation report. That can be done.
Sir, in case of a SRA project, and there are two joint developers. One developer's job is to get the approvals and registration, and the another has to construct the building. So whether the compliance is to be done individually by both the developers or how? Because
No,
if
see, we are
we don't have,
registering-
we are not privy to the other developer what he does.
See, we are registering a project. We are not registering the promoter. So
Correct.
project registration is important.
Right,
Now sharing of information between the promoter is between them.
right.
They have to take care of it.
If it is not available from the second developer, then how
Then-
do we have to do?
Your agreement should be like that only. You have to give the access to, or you have to give quarterly certificate by a chartered accountant or by some, these are the information available.
But still it is not
But
been
now
shared.
maximum information is available in public login except Form 3. So that you can call.
Okay, thank you.
In Form 3,
See, now we are again from this topic is deviation report
Yes.
model agreement, but we are deviating from the today's topic.
Yeah.
So this itself will require one more session.
Okay.
What query you are raising now, landowner area and developer area,
Mhm.
how to issue Form 3,
Okay,
correct? This
Okay.
is your query under joint development.
yes.
There are two segment of marketing. One is done by landowner, one is done by developer.
Mhm.
So that itself will take one session.
Okay, no problem. And about a registration, if I have a single project which has a 10 bungalow system, each has a size of say around 30 or 50 square meter. Does that require a registration?
For registration, you have to count project land.
Project land, if it is not exceeding 500 square meter and the apartments are more than 10.
So that I have
Okay.
already explained.
Yes, the
Registration
same.
is not required as of today. Matter is pending
Matter
before
is
High
pending.
Court.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, can I have a two registration, RERA registration for same project for two wing?
For two wing, you can have wing A as a one number, wing B as a number, two number, second number.
Okay,
But you can't say wing A and B in project one, wing A and B in project two. That cannot be done.
okay. Means I have a two RERA registration.
You can do
separately.
even vertically also. If it
Okay.
is 20-story building, 1 to 10 as a phase one, 11 to 20 as a phase two.
Okay.
Okay, I think last question.
Society is formed, almost all flat are sold by the developer. Say only one flat he has kept, and there are a lot of parkings available. Can he sell or allot parking? Even registration, I mean, society is
See,
registered.
first of all, you have to check the approval plan. What are the mandate under the approval plan? Correct. If he has not given the parking to the respective flat, then he cannot take control of it. This situation arises in many cases where developer take control of some of the parking, but these are all litigation items. You have to check the approval plan. But once the handover is done, then it would be difficult.
Handover is done. Handover,
Handover means it should be a total handover.
yeah, no, that is not done.
Because whether that parking is statutorily required to be given to the flat owners or not.
All flats owner have got sufficient parking and still.
If
parking.
this is extra parking.
Yeah.
Then if it is above the approval terms, then developer can retain for self-use and then he can sell, he can subject to the society rules and regulation, he can transfer those.
So my question is regarding Form 3 for registration and whether the project name is to be mentioned mandatorily while issuing the first Form 3.
Yes, yes, project name.
Can
has to
the chartered accountant issue a certificate saying it is for a new project situated at so and so land? Because what happens is we issue the Form 3 10-15 days in advance and till the last day of the registration, the sales team is not ready with the actual project name.
I doubt because project name has to be mentioned.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the session. It was a wonderful discussion and interactive session from all of you. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Ms. C.A. Anju Jawar for the vote of thanks.
Special thanks to all the participants for actively participating in the overwhelming session. And needless to mention, CA Mr. Ashwin Shah for this encouraging and enrichment session and a knowledgeable session in terms of real estate registration and deviation, which is currently being faced by the developers as well as the chartered accountants. Special thanks to all. Thank you.
Yeah,